Hey guys, welcome back to the Pine Box Perspective. Today I want to talk about my 1 pound survival pack. Before I do that though, you see the shirt that I'm wearing? I want to show you something real quick. I designed this flag, I call it the Prepper flag, and I'm thinking about putting some on Etsy. Guys, let me know if it's something you might be interested in. You've all heard of the 2 is 1, 1 is none, the old saying in the prepping world. So I kind of came up with this. I haven't seen it like this anywhere else. The guy messed up on these. It's supposed to be a full, like 11 or 12 inch, whatever, across the chest. So he gave me these, and I got some more on order. I'm trying to set up an Etsy account right now. I'm working on that. So more on that later. But like I said, let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in, and I'll see what I can do about that. So anyway, 1 pound survival pack. Okay, I'm using the Maxpedition Mini. All right, now this is the second smallest. There's the Micro, which is smaller than this right here. So the reason that I came out with this little system here is because my wife and I, we've been watching these TV shows lately, like I Shouldn't Be Alive, or I Shouldn't Have Survived, or whatever it's called. And I see a lot of people get out there doing things like skiing, hiking, things like that, and they have nothing with them, and they get in these dire emergencies. And some of these people, there was one episode where a guy and his son was out skiing and kind of went over a ridge or something. Total whiteout, had to sleep in a cave for like 9 days. They lost some toes and things like that. And I was thinking, what is something small that you could have if you're too stubborn to take a backpack or any kind of emergency supplies with you? What is something that you could easily put on your belt or you're in your pocket or something that would just give you, the capability to make fire or to clean some water or just something really, really simple, okay? I mean, some of these people, they don't even have water bottles with them or anything. I don't leave my house. I don't go more than a mile without a way to start a fire and a way to drink water. So I was trying to come up with a system that would work for myself and maybe everybody else. So I'm going to get down here and dive into it. Okay guys, so whatever pouch you decide to use or whatever, doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to, the contents is really what I want to focus on here. Now, like I said, this is the Maxpedition Mini, okay? This is the Micro, this is the little brother to it. This is the smallest one that they make, and I really like this one. I wanted to use this one for the video, but I just kept putting stuff in it and things that I thought I wanted to need, and this one here doesn't have some of the features that this one does. So they both have this webbing on the front. This one actually has Velcro here. You can see that I've got it so completely packed out that that's pretty much useless, but you may do something different with it. On the back here, this one has MOLLE webbing, this one does not. Now, this webbing, again, if it wasn't so packed out, I could fit a 1.5 inch belt, which is typically what I wear in this, and you can wear it on your belt. But luckily it has this little grab handle here, and you could attach a carabiner, or you could feed your belt straight through this. Like I said, this weighs 1 pound, and to be exact, it's like 1.1 pound, sorry, 0.8 ounces. So really, really lightweight. You can see it's about the size of my hand. About 6 or so inches tall and about 4 or so inches wide. And then I've got it, like I said, completely packed, and then you're looking at about 2 to 2.5 inches here. So let's see what we got in here. Now, you always got to have a knife, obviously. I really like this knife. And guys, I'm going to drop links in the description to all this stuff. I've got to figure out exactly what this, I think this is called the Hiker. But this one has, a small pin blade in it. It's got your large main blade. Okay. Your screwdriver, bottle opener, screwdriver can opener here. I like this one because it has the saw. The saw works pretty good on dry material, works better on green material. Okay. And this one has like a good 90-degree spine. Well, sort of. But you could use that to strike a ferrocerium rod. Okay, so that's one of the things that we're looking for here. It also has on the back here, if I can find the thumbnail grab, this here would be a better option for striking a ferro rod with your awl or your punch. That's pretty sharp right there. And I like this one because it has the 3D Phillips head screwdriver in it. So not their biggest and not their smallest, but this is I find this to be pretty sweet in the pocket, and it has a lot of features on it. Doesn't have the magnifying glass. This one doesn't have the scissors in it, which would be nice. I've got a larger one, but like I said, this is a small pack, so that's what we're kind of going off of. So Victorinox Hiker, I believe. I will make sure and list it in the comments. Now, next up is my trusty old Streamlight Micro. I love this thing. It works off of one AAA battery. Okay, it has the reversible clip here, so you could clip it on a hat. I always say if I could only have one light with me, it would be a headlamp. Headlamp won't fit in here. So this, you can hold it in your mouth, you can clip it onto your hat. They work really well, and I'm able to fit 2 spare batteries in this little webbing here for it. So a bandana, there's a million and one uses for a bandana. You can use it, put it over a bottle or something and help keep debris when you're getting water out of a stream, things like that. Now for this one, I chose a different color. I typically have in my back pocket a camouflage bandana for concealment and other things, and I just like the camo. This here, red would be good, or maybe like some sort of a neon color or Day-Glo orange, much like this carabiner clip here. If you want to signal somebody, wave it around, kind of get somebody's attention. If you're hurt, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So the intention of this pack is to maybe draw attention if you need to, but also keep you alive. So I think that's a good option for this here. I always have a bandana with me. Now, I always keep cordage with me. This is about 8 feet. That's about all I could cram in here and get the zipper closed, okay? I like to have at least 25 to 50 feet. On my bigger packs, I carry 100, depends on what I'm doing. You know, I don't have to tell you how many uses you can have for cordage. If nothing else, you could replace a shoelace. You never know. So 550 paracord, about 8 feet, whatever you can fit in yours. I got this little whistle here, this emergency whistle. It came with one of my Tops knives. It's got basically 3 different tones of whistles in it. So if, say, something happened to you and you can't really speak, you got a punctured lung maybe or something like that, you could possibly blow in this and get a little bit more sound out if you hear somebody nearby and you're trying to be rescued, okay? Okay, this right here, guys, I finally figured out how to make a small fishing kit the way that I wanted to do it, okay? Now this is one of those travel Advil or Tylenol capsules, okay? It's got a little seal on the inside and sort of a push down childproof kind of a deal here. Now, I wish I could take credit for this, but I cannot, and I wish I could credit the person whose video I saw it on, because I can't remember, it's an older video. I bought some of these smallest bobbers that I could find to go into the smallest Altoid can that I could find, and it just would not close. Well, I saw this guy on YouTube, and I can't remember who he was. I wish I could. Earplugs, guys. These things squish down to nothing, okay? And they'll float a small hook, all right? And if you just kind of let it sit out, it'll come back into shape here in a little bit. I managed to cram 2 of those on top of this. And if you have any problem getting something out, if you wanted to do this kind of system here, you've got your tweezers in the back of your Swiss Army knife, and you could pick that stuff out there, okay? Now, I've got a small Ziploc bag. Every time I buy something and it comes in a Ziploc bag, I save it because I use everything. So inside this Ziploc bag, I have about 6 hooks and 6 sinkers, and these are the smaller sinkers. Sometimes bait works best when you don't have any weight on it at all. You get a more natural flow to it. Okay, now these hooks are, I think they're the number 10 size. I'm not really sure, but they're good for trout or panfish, you know, crappie. Yeah, I say crappie. This is the South. I don't say crappie. Brim, anything like that. You're just trying to get something to eat, you know, out of a stream, what have you. Now, typically I do have a multi-tool with me, a Leatherman, but if I didn't, these are small and it's not going to really hurt you to bite down on them. And you could also use it as a bobber stop if you want to adjust how high or low your bait is floating in the water, okay? So if you're in a bad situation, you're not going to worry about chewing on lead. Not this kind anyway. And all that rolls up into that tube. Make sure I don't lose that hook. Now, for my fishing line, what I did was I got a roll of line and I stretched it out as far as I could reach on both ends with my arms, like, you know, full spread. And that's typically about your body height, give or take. I did that 4 times, so I've got about 25 feet, you know, give or take. I added just a little bit of line here. So what I would do with this, and this is monofilament line. Monofilament floats, so it's going to help your small bobbers float, okay? And it also has some stretch to it. So typically a fishing rod will bend, but a dry stick won't. So you could use a dry stick and you have a little bit of give without shattering your line if you get it hooked on a rock or something. Or, you know, you could grab a green sapling and use that and you'll have some give to it there. So just this little strand number, let's see, what is this? 6 pound test, okay? And I just took a piece of electrical tape and rolled that around there. And guys, be careful with electrical tape. Keep an eye on it because, like I said, I am an electrician, and I will tell you, if you got a piece or a roll of electrical tape, over time, or if it gets too hot, it will reverse, and the outside will have the adhesive on it, and the inside will not. It's the craziest thing, but it happens. Okay. Now, when you make this, the reason I said get 6 links, you want to cut your sapling or get your stick about your height, and you want to tie your line off to the end of that stick and then pull it down to the other end, and that's going to be about where your bait's going to be, okay? And then that way when you throw out, if you get a bite, you can pull it in and the fish is going to come right to your hand, or you can just sling it up on the bank like they do in Alone, you know, on that show. But you don't want to use all this line on your stick because it might be way downstream and you don't have a reel. So, you know, unless you want to wind it around the end of the stick, it's easier just to kind of hide yourself off the back of the bank, toss it in there, let it float down. You catch something, just jerk it out of the water, and it should come right to you. And hopefully I can do a demonstration on this piece right here of gear by itself in the coming days or weeks. We will see. But I'm happy to have this figured out because, you know, you could just stick that in your pocket if you want to leave everything else sitting at your camp and just kind of go play around, you know, if you don't have a fishing rod with you. So, okay. Now, for fire, a lot of times in my packs, I will carry 3 ways to start a fire, okay? But I found that other than lighting candles or cigars, which I don't really smoke cigars, but I have, a Bic lighter, it's really not the best way to start a fire. And if you're really trying to light something like, say you make some curls off a stick and, you know, you're trying to start a fire, you got to hold that button down and it gets hot. And most of the time it really just does not work. A ferrocerium rod slings out sparks with a lot more heat than a lighter does. Okay, in a match, you've already got a burning stick. And not to mention, Bic lighters, you know, you can take this little child-proof thing off of here. But here's the reason I say I would rather just have a ferrocerium rod or a match. A ferrocerium rod, if I could only have one, that would be it, because if it gets wet, it doesn't matter, like a match. This can get wet, this can malfunction and not work. All kinds of things can happen. So, if I have been so cold before, and I've mentioned this in other videos, that I could not use my thumbs, and I could not crank my truck to get the heat going to warm myself up. I finally got it going, but I would not have been able to do this. It would not have happened. So, a match, I could probably kind of hold it and do like this, but I would probably end up burning myself if I did that. With a ferrocerium rod, and I could take, you know, the awl or the saw blade, I can have a lot more dexterity with just my palms than I would be trying to fumble around with my thumbs, okay? So if you're really, really cold, it's just hard to fiddle with things, okay? And that's why I like an open ferro rod, okay? And I would be able to hold this with my palm and this with my palm and strike. I would have a lot better luck, I believe, and that's just my experience. Now, I really like this ferrocerium rod here, but it's totally encapsulated. You've got 2 little parts that you'd have to fumble and unscrew to get into it, okay? So I wouldn't recommend this, like I said, if you're about to freeze to death. Here's your striker on the inside. I really like this piece of gear, but it would just be kind of hard to do, and it's smaller. You want something that you can get a grip on, okay? So a decent, what is this, 4 to 5 inches total, something you can, and this has the lanyard on it, you can really get a grip on that thing and just work it like that. Now, if I'm going to carry matches, obviously it's going to be these Stormproof. These things burn like 10 times longer than a standard match. And like I said, you've already got a piece of tinder here burning, okay? Now, in a survival situation like we're talking about in those shows, like I said, these people have nothing. Now, if you've got like 4 feet of snow all around you, you've been skiing all day, and then you get stuck somewhere, chances are it's going to be really, really hard to find some tinder. So I carry these Exotac tinder tabs, and you can take these out and just kind of tear them up and make them a little bit bigger surface area to catch a spark. These things burn a good little while. You can get some twigs and things going, but you will need some dry material because these things are going to burn for a couple of minutes or so, and then that's it, okay? So if you're going to go with matches, I recommend those. I don't keep these in the matchbox it comes in because it's quite bulky, the big yellow one that it comes with. So I like to have everything packed away flat most of the time, and especially in this small pouch here. All right. Oh, and also a little flat signal mirror. This one has a red side too. But if you're trying to draw attention, helicopter, it's hard to see you in the snow if you're covered in snow, or an airplane or whatever. You know, give that a shot. Like I said, it takes up no room at all. This one's plastic, so it shouldn't break. It's scratched up, and you can put it on a lanyard and carry it around your neck if you want to, or throw it over your back if you're walking, and maybe that'll catch a signal that way. All right. I'll get to the med kit in a second here, which this is part of it. We need your Mylar. This is the cheapo too. Yes, there's ones out there that are way better. This is only a couple steps better than like aluminum foil, really. This is basically going to be your shelter if you can't find a cave to crawl into, or anything really. You can roll this up around you. It's going to help reflect your body heat back onto you. It's going to help keep moisture off of you. You could use it to catch rainwater. One idea that I mentioned that I had in a previous video is with a rain poncho. You could sit Indian style and push this down in between your knees and between your legs if it's raining, and you're covered and it's raining in that, and then you'll have some water right there. Hopefully you'll have a water bottle with you could pour it into and drink it out of, but in this case right here, we're going to not really worry about that right now. So one of these little small cheap Mylar bags could go a long way. Now, my little boo-boo kit here. There's one thing that I'm missing in this. I've got some on order, but I like these little flat packs like you would get out of a medical kit at work or anything. Is a triple antibiotic ointment like Neosporin or something like that. You can get that kind of stuff in these little packs, and also the little iodine applications too. I've got some of those on order. I'm out. Everything's in other places right now, so I've got this in my pocket right now just to show you. Burn cream, because if you did have to handle a match like that or something, and a lot of times if you're cold, you're hungry, or you're sick, or you're hurt, there's a chance if you're messing with fire you could burn yourself. So having some of this right here could go a long way. In the back here I've got some larger bandages, and these are about 2 to 2.5 inches by, say, 3.5 to 4 inches, you know, just for a larger cut, something like that. I keep a couple of those, so I try to have 2 of everything in here. And then you got some regular band-aids, and I do like the fabric band-aids. They hold up a lot better, especially if they get wet. They typically don't come off. If you got those little cheap plastic band-aids, as soon as they get wet they just pop right off, and it's not going to help you any. So got some of these butterfly closures, wound seal type things. You can see that there. You know, to kind of help if you've got a gash, that would kind of help keep that together. Wet ones, guys, you could use this for toilet paper. I keep a couple of these folded over. You can get a box of these and tear them off in singles, or however you want to do that. That's a good thing to have, just more or less hygiene, but it is antibacterial, so that's a good option to have. Alcohol swabs, cleaning your wound. And we got some other antiseptic towelettes in here. I always keep a pair of these with me here. So you got your wound seal that you could shake into a wound and stop the bleeding. It'll form a scab. And then here is your skin glue, basically super glue for the skin. You can order these in a pack of, I think there's like 6 or so in there, and just take them out as you need them and put them in various packs. So I like to build, as you can see, my own med kits and kind of make them the way that I want them. Now, I took, you know, I've got 6 Tylenol here. It's not very much, but like I said, this is a small pack here. If you're coming down with a fever, or if you bang your head or you got some kind of pain, extra strength Tylenol. These are the 500 milligram. This stuff helps, guys. It works for migraines, all kinds of stuff. My elbow was hurting for some reason. It was really inflamed, and I even went to the doctor about it. It was hurting for months. And she said, well, I can refer you to, you know, somebody that they won't do surgery unless they have to. So that night I took some Tylenol. The next morning I was fine. I usually don't take a lot of medicine, or I would have done that sooner. But anyway, Tylenol's pretty good. Now these AquaTabs, I did the math on these. I've mentioned these before too. There's 2 in each one of these little sections here. Okay, here's 5 sections. When you buy these, a lot of times they come in 10 sleeves like this. 1 tablet will do roughly 1 liter. I think I did the math on it. It was like 26 ounces for your dirtiest water, I believe. If you don't have a vessel that'll measure that, you know, like a Nalgene bottle's 32 ounces, I would probably use one of those to a Nalgene. You do what you want. Don't take my word for it. I don't want you getting sick and blaming me, okay? But this is a good thing to have. Packs down flat, goes in the med kit, you know, and you don't have to worry about boiling water or nothing like that. So, now, you know, we've got all this stuff. We've got the fire, the fishing, and all that stuff. And you're like, well, what if I don't have anything to put water in? Well, Old Red's got you covered here, okay? Take yourself a 1 gallon Ziploc bag, the good kind, the actual Ziploc brand, okay? And you may want to, if you're going to use the AquaTabs in conjunction with this, I would probably measure out 1 liter of water, pour it in here, and then take a Sharpie and make yourself a mark so you know your fill line, okay? And that way you could get some water out of a stream. And one thing that you could do is you could run your fingers around this like you're wringing a cat's neck. Not that I do that, but, and then poke your finger through there, right? And you could take your bandana and unfold it and cover that and dip it down in the stream and let that fill up about as much as you want, and that'll help keep some of the debris out, okay? This is the best way I could find to fold down flat and still carry water. Now, another idea that I had with this, I've seen online where people say that you could boil water in a plastic bag, okay? Now, you really don't want your microplastics and stuff, you know, getting all in your system or whatever. But if you are in a really bad dire emergency, you're going to want to be drinking some water. And guys, if you really have to, drink straight out of the stream if you have to. Chances are, hopefully, you're probably going to get found before you have to worry about any kind of waterborne pathogens or anything, hopefully, but you never really know. And if you got diarrhea, if you're throwing up, you know, obviously you're going to get more and more dehydrated. But we're going to try something here. So similar to what I just said about choking a cat, we're going to make a loop in this. Okay, let's see. Make that a little bit bigger. And it needs to be kind of a stationary loop so it doesn't slip. I'm going to leave that loose for now until I get it in there. I'm going to roll the bottom of this bag up. I'm going to stick it through this loop. Okay, up to about right here. Alright, I'm going to pull it down tight, but not all the way tight. Okay, and then we're going to try and suspend this over a flame. When you do this, you don't want your loop over here on the side of the bag. You want it right here so that it hangs. So if you don't have this thing, you just got a little bit of water in here, and you got a flame, you don't want this side, you know, to have water in it. If this one doesn't and the heat transfers up here, it could wrinkle this. You want the heat to hit only plastic that has water in it so that heat can transfer through the plastic and into the water and not melt your bag, because then you'd be out of luck, okay? So we're going to give that a shot. And also one more thing too, while this is suspended, you don't want it to be full of water and collapse and fall through the loop. So we're going to take a stick and we're going to put it here to here so that if it does try to slip, it'll catch on that stick and it won't come all the way down. This is just a theory. We're going to try it and see if it works. All right guys, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to mess around with building a fire. It's been raining really bad here for a couple weeks now, so I've just rigged up this crude little thing. I've got a barrel out in the woods, a stick laid across it with a rock supporting the back of it. You could do this on a log over a fire pit. Cord is dropped down, and I've got this little Coleman butane canister heater here, so we're going to try it on that, okay? See if we can get this to work. I may have to adjust this a little bit. Okay, you can kind of see what I've got going on here. The stick's holding, the water's still in there. Now, like I said, if any of that plastic that does not have water in it comes contact with the heat itself, it's not going to be good for the bag. So I'm just going to see what happens here. May need to add a little more water because that corner doesn't have any in it. Well, that's not good. Oh, I see what I did now. Don't worry guys, I had another bag. Only half of my burner is working right now, so we're gonna just see what happens here. So I've tried to get, what I did when I moved the other one was I exposed part of the plastic to the actual flame. Wasn't really paying attention. But I think this will work. If not, I could just ruin my little stove here. Oh, it's drying out now. Okay. So, try and time this. And that is roughly, that's probably 2/3 of a liter because I spilled some. And also it could be that I've got the heat up really high on this thing. This burner doesn't get terribly hot like most of your propane ones. It does work pretty good if you got something directly on it. I could probably decrease the heat so that the flame isn't as close to the bag itself. Anyway, no need to make a really long video out of that. So I'm going to pause it, and if it starts bulling, then I'll show you. And if it pops again, I'll show you that. Well, it popped again. But you can see the bottom's still good. So you can see the rest of the bag's holding up. I guess I just had it too close to the flame. I'm not really sure. This is not something I'd really want to try anyway, but you never know. Maybe next time I'll put 2 liters in it. All right, guys, see, that's why you should always have one of these, a single-walled stainless steel canteen, so you can boil water in. I really thought that was going to work, and I think it would if I'd have done something different. I'm not really sure. Never tried that before. I saw a Chinese lady doing it on a video, and she was cooking noodles over some sticks in a really thin grocery bag, I believe it was. So, who knows? Anyway, not something I'd really try and do, but I guess if I had to, I'd probably just use the bag and the water tablets or something like that. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next time.